Welcome to Spk Our Mind community podcast, sharing the views and opinions of local residents in Camden.
Take two. But that was interesting. Okay, that's it. Good, yeah? Now. That's why he was like, where's he gone? Okay, so now, my name is Halima. I've been living in, hi, hello. I've been living in Camden all my life, actually. I've been living in Camden since 1991. I've pretty much brought up in this same area. Went to school in Camden Borough, not exactly in Camden Town, but Camden Borough, and I've always worked in Camden all my life. I work for the NHS. I'm an interpreter myself. Worked in office as well. I'm a diabetes educator. What else do I do? That's it. So how about you? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
The services in Camden are great. I've got a service, and I have one-to-one every 2 weeks for an hour and a half. I used to have one 2 days, and it used to be 2 hours a time. But because the what you have to pay is too much, I had to cut it down. So, and I do need it, but it's I don't know.
You said horrible before. What were you referring to?
Oh yes, lockdown. Because I've had a heart attack and I've had 5 holes in the heart when I was a baby. I had to be really careful. Not go out. Ask people to go and get shopping, and if it's like something like a teddy bear or something, they go, oh, why do you want a teddy bear? If I pay for it, I can have it. And because they didn't want to do it, I struggled the whole way through, and it wasn't nice at all. Because I'm dyslexic as well, so
how does it feel now that the lockdown seems to be over for now, at least?
over for now. It's fine. It's fine now because I've got in touch with my son. Well, obviously, he brings me out here, and it's really nice that we're getting on together better than anything.
So nice to know.
Yeah.
Do you think it's affected your life during the lockdown? Do you think? I personally believe that it's affected a lot of our lives.
Yeah, it has.
Emotionally, personally, so many different aspects. But do you think it's affected you as well?
Yeah.
From hearing, listening to you, I think it has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What was the worst thing that when you were experiencing during the lockdown? Did you wish there were some places, or maybe some, I don't know, there wasn't any places that we could go to?
Yeah, we had women's group, and it was just women. But because they had to close down, we've got nowhere else to go.
Yeah. So do you agree if I say I wish there were more places that we can reach out to, or maybe more intervention from some services to actually help people who are like quite desperate and being stuck at home and not doing anything, not reaching out to anybody? I think there should have been, but actually in my eyes, I don't know if everyone else agrees, there wasn't enough. There wasn't anything actually.
It's like,
I don't think the government thought about that. You know, it's like there's a lockdown. That's it. There's a lockdown. COVID. You know, it's rising really high. You know, we're gonna have a shutdown. We're gonna have a lockdown and whatnot anyway, and then didn't really think about anything else. Do you agree?
What are your thoughts on that?
oh God. See, I can't take in I can only take in so much, and then it just goes. So the conversation that we've just had, I know we've just had, but I'm sorry, but I can't.
No, please don't apologize. It's fine. I understand. I really do see something because during the lockdown, my mental health was really bad. We all look very normal. I look very normal. You look normal. We all sitting here look very normal, but none of us know what we all been maybe suffering or dealing with. Yeah, because we're on different journeys in our life now. All of us are. But I had severe mental health problem. I couldn't sleep. I used to cry. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. I got separated. I got divorced. My whole entire family shunned me. I'm not in touch with anybody. I had to come out of it. I did come out of it. I pulled myself out from the black hole.
Yeah, but how do you pull yourself out? It's
the reason I was able to do it because I felt the reason I'm talking about this is because I felt as if because of the lockdown, lack of communication, lost my mum as well, who I was very close to. Whether I was close to, that was my mum. Okay, a year before I lost my dad, I lost my mum to cancer. I couldn't see her. We couldn't see her for 5 months. I did talk about this before, so that you all understand how it really affected me. I become severely depressed. I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing. Okay, I was depending on sleeping pills, painkillers. Basically, you could say that I was addicted to them. Okay, I felt as if and because of the lockdown, because like we human are so used to seeing another human being around us, we don't realize it. We don't actually think about it because we don't take it for granted to a point that, oh yeah, people are there anyway, nothing's gonna happen. Anything can happen in life. But what I realize, I like having people around me, not necessarily in my place, but when I'm out and about, because that's how I think we human beings are like that. We're interconnected.
Did you feel as though that you were in a bubble?
I felt as if I was in a bubble. I couldn't look at anybody. If you looked at anybody, you were like, what are you looking at me for? Do you have COVID or something? If you walked past, because we're so used to walking past one another, and that was never a problem for years and years and years, yeah? And then all of a sudden, in order to adapt those new habits, for me, it was very devastating. I couldn't see anybody. Like I said, my mom was home with cancer. She only had like few months left. For 5 months, we couldn't see mom. I used to go outside my mom's house, wait outside with my best friend, and see mom there. So just a combination of everything. It was just so bad. It was so bad. It really affected me. It came to a point for me, I actually thought about ending my life. It was just it's combination of everything, and on top of that, it was the icing on the cake. This lockdown for me, it's like I felt trapped. We had no say. Although bearing in mind that there was COVID, the people were dying, infection rate was going high, but I personally felt that I still feel quite trapped. I just feel that everything we do is very, 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 very limited. So I was affected. So, I can understand. If someone says to me, I was really badly affected, I seriously can't understand. I actually almost feel the pain. It's not nice because human beings don't survive like that. We may not have a lot of people around us. But the thing is, my point is, if there was places we can go with cautions, with being careful and, certain strategies put in place where you can say, maybe 3 people can go, or at least something in that place so you can sit together, talk about your experiences. I don't know. But nothing like that was put in place. It was just horrifying, actually. Anyway.
Tanya, how do you find making connection in your local area?
I've got no connections at all. No connections. Apart from Jamie and my friend Hannah, that's it. It feels horrible because I'm in the house on my own. I got a little flat. And I'm trying to move out because I lost my fiance there to cancer. So I do know how you feel. I lost my sister to cancer. This is when I was back at home in Farnborough. I've lost 4 children. Jamie was a twin. And I lost him. I lost the other one. Yeah. That's all right. Oh, and I recently lost my brother. for a drink. Didn't like him. From what he did to me. Can you imagine what he did to me? A fella. And a woman.
Wow.
Without saying anything else. It
That must be
was really
devastating
hard.
to not be able to. Have people talked about things like this? Was there any place they could talk to, or
No.
no? Do you feel like that if there was anywhere that you had the platform to talk to, it would have been better for you?
I don't know. This is the first time that I've actually spoken like this.
And does this make you feel well or bad?
Bad. Because it's all coming out now. And I just don't know. I go home thinking, now what can I do? I've got a dog. Okay. He's little. He's a puppy. He's lovely. Yeah, he's my baby at the moment.
So, is this what is missing in the community? That place for people to go and talk and share their feelings, like that empathy? Do you think that's what we are missing? Jimmy, would you like to say, hearing from?
Oh no, I don't actually want sorry. I just want to.
Yes, first of all, I'm
Want to
really
explain
sorry
it?
about what you've experienced, Tanya.
Don't actually want sorry.
Yeah, it just really touched me. I just wanted to acknowledge that to you. I mean, I have a follow-up question on if you had felt supported by your community, not by the services, but like by your community, like the people around your community. Because I have a very different experience of Camden, and that's why I'm mentioning that. I've moved to Camden a year ago, and I've been involved with the Camden community. And I found that during the lockdown, which was really hard for everyone, I mean, listening to all of you, I can sense that we've all been through a really hard time. Personally, it really helped me being around this particular part of London, because I feel like there's an openness to the space and the people who live here, and for that very reason, I feel like there's a lot of potential, and I feel like the people, you know, who live in Camden and who go around Camden, there's something about it. There's like a sense of community, which I can't really pinpoint, but like just walking around, you can see that there's a lot of people on the street commuting, and they look at each other, they see each other. You can sometimes like hear people playing music or just chatting to each other. There's something open about it, which you can't really find in other parts of London, and for that reason, I feel like there's a lot of potential.
So is it because you think because of your age and your gender that you're finding Camden more, and then there's another community in Camden that's feeling excluded very much? So because of not having online accessibility or not able to go out, because is it the generation gap? Is it because we are maybe one generation is much more open and happier in Camden, and then another generation or another groups of people? Because I know people in Camden, obviously my experience is different, but I know people that they're suffering a lot because during the lockdown especially they were socially excluded totally. So do you think it's that,
There's definitely a gap. And it's not just the social exclusion, I would say. It's like it's even like the basic needs of, a human being. Like there's so many people who are on the street, still living on the street. There's so many of them around the Camden community. You can just take a walk and you can see that. So I do think that there needs to be a better provision for these people who live around the Camden area, because there's just so many. And I mean, I've lived here for only a year, but I see the same faces wherever I go, and I ask myself, okay, who is actually like taking some action for what are the services that we have in place to actually help?
Do you know any of local community or create groups or anything that creative happening in Camden that everyone can be included? Or
I know there's the charity Mind in Camden, who helps vulnerable people in the community. I do know there's obviously like the NHS, Candy, which has a few services around the area. And other than that, I mean, I believe there's a homeless charity as well, which operates within Camden. But I believe we need more.
see, I believe that as well. I know there is specific services, but then it needs to be referred, or it's like, but where is that open, like in a community center that anyone can get access to? Anybody can be part of it, like just walk in and feels like home. Talking to quite a lot of people, I feel like that's what's missing in the community. There's some people are very much included in the community, and there's some people, quite a lot of people are excluded in the community, and they are struggling to feel welcomed and home. So is there any like open space for anybody, as in open space as in not in open?
Do you mean by a centralized
Yeah.
system or
Central
building?
system, well, any age group can go for it. Basically, it's like how we have Bengali community centers, but it's not only for Bengalis, but people in nearby can actually go in there and obtain information if they want to find out. But anything is. It's a hub, yeah, that's what I was thinking, hub, yeah. Centralized hub, yeah. Hub, it sounds really good, because then it's not specified, it's not just particularly for under 25s or over 25s or under 30s, or, not, do you understand, not just falls under one category.
So-
hub, yeah.
So this SPCA, St. Pancras community,
Yeah.
so they have all this, the leaflets I've seen, amazing stuff. But I think people need to know. When I get handed out to people, they say, "Oh, I didn't know that exists." So I think like there is stuff happening,
Yeah.
but I feel like there needs to include people more.
Yeah.
The services needs to go to people and get them included, because service users.
You go to GP surgeries and we see a lot of information. We go to libraries don't exist. I don't think exist anymore. Oh, blimey. Anyway, there should be, that's what I was going to say. There should be like little stores somewhere, like in every, I would say, given the current situation, everyone's devastated, okay? Every little help that the community can provide to people who are really vulnerable, who are really needy, people who don't have any families around, people like yourself, yeah? I live by myself as well. I'm really lonely. So sad. Anyway, so there should be like you said, yeah. Dimi said, maybe like little stalls. I don't know, just a little table, with all this information, so that it's given out to them. Or people should also have like an extra hand who can actually explain what the service provides. Because what people do, give them the leaflet, people go and throw it in the bin, or maybe it's in somewhere in the bag. If you're going to a woman, it's going to be all the way bottom of the bag. You know how women are like.
You know
Like
what I
me.
think?
Yeah.
I think that this thing Mind in Camden, Mind in Hammersmith, Sitat, iCope, go now. You can get this help from them, because papers and leaflets are not gonna do the job for you. And then you can spend some time on organizing some events to liaise these services with the GPs. So we can people who are in charge, they can create a day or like 3 days every other month so that they can inform GPs about the services that are available in the community. Because so the people who need to know, like GPs, care coordinators, social workers, people who need to know, they can be contacted by people who are experts in that, and they provide the service. So they educate them, and then they educate the clients. Does it make sense?
It does.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
Very
It does.
much
It
so.
does. Yeah. I'm just thinking. It does. Yeah.
I liked the old system, when we used to have libraries in every corner.
Yeah.
You go to a library, you'll have so many leaflets.
People have places to see. You can
like
have
big
questions. There's
posters.
somebody there to talk to. Now.
posters, but nowadays
Go
you don't have
Google.
libraries.
Oh, what do I look? Yeah.
There's one thing about that, yeah. Leaflets. You think everybody can read them?
No.
No, can't.
Yeah.
You know what? I think leaflets is a very old thing.
Old thing, yeah.
Very old thing. I'm 32 years old and it's very old for me. Imagine for someone who's 48.
Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes of Spk Our Minds podcast. Welcome to Spk Our Mind community podcast, sharing the views and opinions of local residents in Camden.
Perhaps it should be a mixture of things, because perhaps it should be a mixture of things, because there's like different demographics, right? There's different ages, so you need to touch upon like different groups of people within the community.
Somehow we're missing it.
We're always missing a group, but deploying like different advertisement techniques could work for,
I think what
holistic.
Mr. V said is really good. I agree with you. And along with that, and then broadcasting something on TV, like showing on TV, like
Because
and then saying
this,
in different languages as well.
and you know
Like,
why?
there is
Because
help.
this is you can digest it very easily. You can digest very easily. You can see. I mean, everything is about sound, image, colors, that. So when I walk down the street, if I walk for 10 minutes in Camden, I'm gonna get one leaflet about my nails, one about my hair, one about mind, one about McDonald's, and one about religions. So you know what I'm gonna do with all these? Throw them away,
Yeah.
all of them,
Yeah.
without reading any of them. Maybe the one about the fast food.
Yeah.
Maybe I can read that.
Do you know the one? Do you know when we go to YouTube and we see the adverts?
Yes.
They're really good.
Yes.
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm a bit sad actually. I do watch them because just to find out, let me see if there's anything useful to learn. Sometimes you do get some sort of information because it's informative. Do you agree? Do you know we have to skip those annoying ads? Yeah.
You're forced to watch them anyway.
I know, man. The ones you're forced to watch for 5 seconds. Those ones.
What about the people who doesn't go to YouTube? We know
Yeah, I know. But yeah, but TV,
Not
radio,
even
yeah.
radio, television,
Television, radio. Who listens to radio?
newspapers.
Yeah,
do they read people read
No, but, well, at
People
least
do.
No,
Metro.
you know what? You can get them when you get on the tube.
Yeah.
It can be on the first page.
Yeah.
This is so important that it could be on the first page every single day.
every single day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Very
it
good
could
idea.
it doesn't have to say mind in Camden. It can say mind, because there are minds all over London. London or maybe England. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I know mind, but it can be more than that. And they can alternate. 1 month can be mind, and the next month can be something else, then something else, then again mind.
Or just a list of charities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Organizations like local.
Yeah, like
development.
a small picture of all the organizations.
On top of my head, I know so many community centers that are running events, but only I know that because I'm in touch. But these informations, I don't need to know this. The people who uses them, they need to know this. So somehow this list needs to be how you said, on the bus.
I think this is a very good idea, So something could be done about this. No, actually, no, seriously, I agree with you. That's really good. It's a very good idea. Smart. I like it. And don't forget my YouTube one, yeah? The one you are forced to watch. You sit there and go, oh, okay. Because I do find a lot of information. I think it's quite informative. Don't you agree? I mean, yes, of course, not everybody goes on the internet and watches things on YouTube and stuff. I'm just saying, it's something I thought about, actually.
You know what's the point, though? All these advertisements are from single people who want to introduce their businesses.
Yeah.
So they put in the money.
So capitalism infiltrates social causes.
Yes. The short answer is yes. So who is going to put the money in for Mind? The council? Johnson? People like that. Even if we like it or we don't, this is the truth. The people who are in charge of these situations are the people that I mentioned.
Maybe give an example of the community creativity. Like, give an example if you feel if there is any, like this one. Organization events, ideas.
I know there's an event happening soon in community on the 2nd, but I don't know how much the people know about it. I have an email, so I know there's going to be an event on the 2nd, but so it's reaching out to people. So are we reaching?
TV is the best one.
That was my thought.
That was your thought, yeah. That's why I said this is Mr. V's thought, Mr. V's idea. I just tried to stole it. But anyway, it didn't work.
I got that.
I mentioned your name.
I can say.
Stuff is happening, so we all agree that things are happening, but we are just not. There's no enough information about it, isn't it? Or it's happening in a smaller scale. It has to happen in a bigger scale.
No, but then again, you know what? You are one person and you do one thing.
Yeah.
And I am another person and I do another thing.
Yeah.
And we are 5 people in this room.
Yeah.
And we can do 5 different things. Instead of that, we can come together and create one huge thing that everyone can work on with a common goal for
Very good. I like your
Everywhere I
ideas.
go,
It's
I
very
see
fresh. I like it.
posters for like theme parks,
Oh, yeah.
like everywhere. So now I know that where I can find the big park, I can find like a theme park inside the park.
Yeah.
Somehow, I think we can do the same for things like that, right? So I can get used to the idea that every November, like November can be the month of awareness. So in every single bar I can go to the council or to the city hall and I know that I can find things there. But everything is about what you promote as well. If I go to a house and I see 5 people, and then I go to another one and I see 500 people, I'm not gonna stay with the 5 people. I'm gonna go where the most people are.
Yeah.
Because this is more interesting or more fun, something that is more intriguing at least. So if I decide to do a project one day and it's just me and 3 more people, that's small, boring, and probably grey. But instead of that, I can create something big and make it colorful.
That's the creativity comes in.
I also hope that after listening to our conversation and what our thoughts are, that something does come out of this. You know how you said about, like we 5 people here sitting here. Yeah, so something, because we feel very strongly about it, and I can hear from all of us that we feel very strongly about it. So I really hope that after listening to our conversation, there's something someone out there can support us financially, or something, just putting ideas together and do something bigger. I think so. I think that's the whole point of this podcast, yeah? So our voices can be heard, our concerns can be heard, what matters to us and what's important for the community and for the needy. So I hope after listening to us, something can be done. There's maybe an organization, I don't know what it exactly, I don't really understand how it really, really works. But there must be a reason why we're doing this podcast and we're sharing a lot of ideas and views and what matters to us. Not just us, but the whole community. So I hope someone does something. I mean, if we're all involved again, I'm up for it. Yes.
It's like I've been waiting for 10 years to move because I've got trouble. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I threw 2 people out of my home. And I shan't say the names, but yeah. And her dad came to me and said, "Oh, I see you're throwing my daughter out on the street. How dare you?" I've given them a month to move. And within that month, do you know what they said to me? I said to them, "Go to the council." And they said to me, "No, we can't get up in the mornings." And that was my fault. Her father came to me and said, "You're throwing my daughter out." I just about had enough of them, literally. And I've actually asked to go on the council, yeah, and they won't move me. I cannot get on the council. Gone. Yeah. I have asked and asked and asked politely, can I move? No. My mental health is being squashed. I don't know what to do. I've got neighbours that talk to me, but not friends. And that's that. What do I do?
Have you spoken to your GP?
I've spoken to my GP.
You haven't?
Yeah.
You have.
I've spoken to everyone.
There are places GPs can signpost you to. Yes, I know it's going to be very tough now anyway. It's just, I just feel that it's an excuse. Lockdown,
Yeah,
COVID.
But 10 years.
Yeah, I know. But now it's going to be, we've got good reasons. Now it's because everything is about lockdown and COVID now. Oh, restricted service, restricted this, restricted that. People don't pick up the phone. It's frustrating. Do you think this is over? I don't think so. It's having a huge impact.
Sounds like
a dominoes effect.
Scapegoating.
Yeah, scapegoating, of course.
Because simply the system has so much pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Yatsi and I've lived in London for what seems like an eternity.
Camden.
Camden, yeah, that place. It's a shithole. Don't move it.
Okay.
How'd you find Camden?
Well, there are a lot of drug users in Camden.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's so readily available. Find them, arrest them, lock them up for eternity.
What do you think is missing in the community, Jamie?
More police officers.
More police officers.
Yeah.
How would that help the community? Do you
Because
think?
the drug dealers wouldn't come out.
True, actually, you're right. Actually, yeah, you're right.
But then again, why do you think so many people are addicted to drugs? Though? Is there something missing? What is missing in the community that people has to be addicted to drugs?
Counselling. Support so they don't have to run from their issues to use drugs.
Yeah.
Illegal drugs.
Yeah.
Medications are good for you, but illegal drugs are bad. They have addictive stuff in them if you're making certain products. But even some natural illegal substances are very addictive as well.
But for people to go on, like at the beginning, to start using, I know counseling that comes after once they start using the drugs, right? But why do you think people? Well, you said because they're not.
I think what he's trying to say, there should be services accessible for people like that. Should be made very clear, loud and clear, that there are services you can turn to. No, there's not enough. You're saying that there isn't enough. There is.
More than enough services. There are services you can turn to.
You're saying that there isn't
No,
enough.
there is. There's more than enough services you can turn to. But when you've got people that are using certain drugs that are making them sick, they're getting the things that are stopping them from being sick just so they don't have to use so much of that certain drug. And it's ridiculous.
You feel quite strongly about it, don't you? I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. There needs to be something.
Well, when you've got certain drug users that are basically getting housed and stuff like that, but yet Camden Council say that they don't house drug users and alcoholics, but yet they're doing it anyway, it sort of defeats the objective. Because you know somebody like that's going to go in there, live for 3 years or so, run up a £16,000 debt with the council, get thrown out onto the streets and have to do the cycle all over again. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you've got somebody that you're using and your policies are to not use to be able to get housed, well, enforce them.
Thing is, it's really sad to see that drug dependency on people as well, though. If they maybe had services accessible, or they had access
You
to
have.
services.
You've got places like 184, the Marguerite Centre, where they've got some of the best drug counsellors in the country at those places. It's like the Marguerite Centre, when I used to use it, had the leading expert in legal highs at the time. He basically was the one that managed to get me off of what I was using. And if I can do it, then pretty much anybody can do it. It's not hard to do. You just got to be able to, and plus councils. If they've got somebody who is a previous substance user inside their list, there should be a program where they have swap from one council to another so that they're not stuck inside their trigger
Good idea.
area.
Good idea.
Because if they're stuck inside their trigger area, they're not always going to have the willpower to stay away from those sort of people and those sort of areas that they need to stay away from. So if you remove them from that area completely, then there's not going to be much of an issue. The problem's going to relatively be solved because they're not going to be stuck inside their trigger area anymore where they're going to be tempted to go and use again. But councils don't really give a shit about that. All they want to do is make money.
They don't make money. Yeah, they don't
That's all they
intervene.
want to do is make money out of people these days. There's no care inside the
there
social
isn't.
housing system like there used to be. Ever since Maggie Thatcher came into power, it's just been a moneymaker. Before she came into power, they cared about people. They would do things to be able to move people into different areas and stuff like that, by what I've read. I personally wasn't alive at the time to be able to know, but just by what I've read. Times were way better before Maggie Thatcher ever came into power. The social housing system became just a moneymaker and started selling off housings, where now we're in the biggest housing crisis that we've ever seen because there pretty much is no social housing anymore. The system's now fucked. It doesn't work anymore. Revamp the system, make it work for the people. We're not all rich and high and mighty where we can go out and buy houses and stuff. We need social housing so people don't have to stay on the streets. If people that stay on the streets can't even claim benefits because they've got no home to
That's a big.
to have an address attached to so they can claim benefits. And if you can't even make money if you're homeless, unless you're doing illegal activities to go and do it. It's ridiculous. People need ways so that they can get housing easier than what we're getting these days. I was stuck in the housing system for 7 years before I even got housed.
So what did you do before that while you were waiting?
I was in hostels.
How was it?
You don't want to know how it was.
Do you want to talk about it?
Nah.
It's okay.
Well, just put it this way. There are too many bullies inside those houses and hostels that just try and milk you for what they can get out of you. it gets to the point where staff don't even pay attention to what you're saying, so you end up having to deal with it yourself, and by the time you do deal with it yourself, you're kicked out of the hostel. It's ridiculous.
Especially if someone has a mental health issue.
But there are specialised mental health hostels for people with mental health. And yeah, they are much better
Is
than...
it accessible though? How easy is it to access them?
They're not easy to access. Number one, you've got to have a mental health worker that is willing to put you forward for those mental health hostels, and then you've got to fit the criteria. Like, most of them are drug-free, alcohol-free,
Wow.
but there are 24-hour hostels that will accept people that are trying to quit drugs and quit alcohol, but otherwise they're not going to accept you because they don't want to have to deal with the people's bullshit. They don't, like a drug addict and an alcoholic, they don't want to have to deal with you because you are too much hassle. And they just don't want to put up with it. Especially an alcoholic can quite happily fly off the handle for no reason, just because they've had a couple of drinks and they think they're bloody Braveheart or Iron Man or something.
But they need help for them to come off of alcohol though.
Yeah,
You said there are in lots of places, but it's not easily accessible.
at Marguerite Centre, you just walk up, sign up, and they'll accept you. You can get an appointment every week. You can ring up your worker every hour of every day if they accept your phone calls.
But you have to have the willingness. You have to have that.
You've got to have the willingness to stop. 90% of addicts don't have the willingness to stop.
So how do we support them? Is there anything?
There's nothing you can do to support them. Those are the kind of people that should just... If they're not willing to help themselves, then why should they be helped?
Maybe some people, they just don't have the willpower. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but shouldn't there be any services available that we somehow try to help them do something?
Why should we help them? If they're not willing to help themselves, why do they deserve help when there are
But they need
people
that
out
with
there?
the extra bit of help, they might be able to.
If they're
extra
willing
bit
to
of
help themselves, then
intervention,
they should get the help. But
I think it's a collective
if they're
thing,
not
it's just
willing
not-
to
yeah.
help themselves, then why should anyone go out their way to help someone? Just because...
I think it requires intervention from lots of services, not just one service, because it becomes a bit overbearing.
Yeah.
Too many people, too many problems. I think intervention from, like you said, the council, community centres and mental health teams, I think it's a collective thing.
The reason why most of them don't want to quit is because they know they're going to end up stuck in the same situation, doing the same cycle over and over again. Even if they get housed, they're going to end up going back to it. So they just don't bother, they stick with it. If they know they could move into a different area where they weren't going to have the triggers, they aren't going to have certain things around them, then they're going to be fine.
I think, I don't know, maybe this is going to sound stupid, but I think the government should put something in the place where, I'm talking about the addicts, yeah? I'm talking about alcohol, I don't know about drugs, how the government
Basically,
control it. Maybe
if
not sell alcohol, I don't know.
There is quite enough
know,
land where
certain
you could
people,
quite
I don't
happily
know.
go and build like a drug and alcohol-free zone where if you're caught in that zone with drugs and alcohol, you will be kicked out.
Yeah.
Straight up. That's pretty much what would potentially be needed. But government don't give two shiny shits about people. They're just there to make money.
Sure, I agree with you.
If you're not rich and paying the higher rate of tax, i.e. like over, I think it's £50,000 a year. If you're earning under £50,000 a year and you're not paying that higher 20% tax rate, they don't care. And the fact is, with this higher tax rate, you're getting taxed 15. No, what are we paying? Yeah, we're paying 20% tax up until 49,000. And then after 49,000, you're paying 40% tax. But these rich people that are earning over 50 grand are getting the first 50,000 a year taxed at 20%. And then what they earn over the 50,000 is getting taxed at 40%. So what's the point in that? You might as well tax the whole bloody lot at 40%. They're earning enough to be able to do it.
Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes of Speak Our Minds podcast.